Dude, you're a fascinating person, and I wanted to talk about some more than just the Bigfoot 200. Like your season in general. I've talked to Josh, and I'm like, how is he not overtrained? He's like, your turnaround between some of these events, you're doing like 100 miler here, and then a 200 miler, and then a couple months later another 200 miler. And I know you're training all the time too. On top of all that, I've also read. Here, I'm going to quote something. This is from your Instagram. 2.5 months of living in a room with three other people, sharing a kitchen and a bathroom, no car, ran out of money, one vision, one goal. No one will take this away from me. It's my turn. Bigfoot 200, just 1 week out. And then another one. I didn't even quote the other one, but you've had a couple of those quotes where I'm like, how is he doing? Like, tell me a little bit about your lifestyle, like over this past year. You're really sacrificing a lot, it seems, to chase a pretty big dream, which I think is so admirable. Not a lot of people do that. What's it been like? How have you been living? How have you been training? How do you get to these races? No
Yeah.
car? Like, what's the deal here?
So it's been wild. Long story short, like I have to say, like if a person was just doing this out of nowhere, it would probably be almost impossible. But like my brain injury was so bad, like it's taken so long to heal. Like a lot of my cognitive functions weren't there, so I didn't even really know what was going on in my life at that point. But leading up into this year, I had some. So I was personal training. I was working two jobs at the time, training like
Mhm.
this, and kind of the point where you said like overtraining. Like for the first 3 years, I overtrained, and I was just like threshold runs all the time. And honestly,
Mhm.
I think that's kind of why I can handle such a big load now because I
Mhm.
stretched myself so much. And like, I didn't think I would still be running at this point because like I used to never stretch and like my body was just falling apart. But since my
Mhm.
brain was so unhealthy and so detrimental, that wasn't even a big deal. Like it didn't, like I couldn't even put those pieces together. So it was like
Mhm.
grinding would like almost open up my cognitive functions again. So
Hmm.
that was easier to me than just sitting around, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I think that's been the overriding thing why I can stretch myself so far is because I was so like I was like imprisoned in my body for a while, like still
Yeah.
am in certain ways. But kind of getting to that point, man, I just went on a tangent. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, the big training and everything. So yeah, so for me, this year, it was tough. So I went out Arizona. So this is pretty much what I planned on doing. I took off of work, kind of had some issues happen there, and I was just at a really low point. I'm like, okay, I put so much into this. I'm like, like, it was just parts of my life were like really coming unglued, like work wise. I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna have a mental breakdown right now, or I just have to go put all of myself into this. And that's kind of what I did. It's kind of honestly kind of how my life led me up to this point. And I just had this intuition. I'm like, I know I can do some of these things. It's like, this is where my life got me. And just all of this makes sense.
You just feel like you need that. Yeah.
I do. So I talked to my girlfriend. We made a decision to take off of work this year. And I was just going to go out to Flagstaff. And I really, in my mind, thought I could win Arizona Monster 300. But
Mhm.
what I learned is just running out in the desert, running out west, those long things. It's just, you have to adapt to it.
Mhm.
So had that DNF and I was
When
so
was
pumped.
Arizona?
What's that?
When was Arizona? The
That was
300?
April 4th it started.
April 4th. Okay. Yep.
Yep. So I came home and I was just in like a manic state. Like after that, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to get back out there for races. And I just had so much inside of me that I really wanted to prove. And I kind of also wanted to get my story out there. I'm like, running is just the best way to do this for me.
Mhm.
So I'm like, babe, I'm doing Cocodona this year. I emailed Cocodona. They had like one spot open. I got in. I was training and I thought I was okay. I thought I had shin splints, but it ended up being stress fractures. And then I got to
Oh.
Cocodona. All of that happened. And like after that race, I was just like I was in the gutters. I'm like, I'm so stupid. I'm like, I just trained, took all this time off this year. And I guess I was in such a low. I'm like, I cannot handle this. I'm like, if I go home, all of this is for nothing.
Mhm.
And like it was tough for me and Bethany. Like she wasn't too pumped with me at the time. Like, but the thing is, we rode that out full circle, and that was like the best thing that happened to us. Like we both had so much personal growth, like as I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But so long story short, I'm like, hey, I'm staying out here. So I had a rented car at the time. I went to this guy's driveway, would sleep in his driveway, just sleep in the back of the car for 5 days. And then I found an Airbnb. I'm like, okay, well, I have enough money to stay out here for this Airbnb. I have no car right now, but I'm going to get a bike out here. I'm going to ride everywhere and I'm going to train. And like,
Okay.
that's just kind of where my head was at. And honestly, the whole time I was out there, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, I don't
Mhm.
even know if I'm going to be able to run right now. And then all of a sudden, I just started doing 100-mile weeks, like the second week out there. I'm like, what is going on right now? And then, then I just kept going and then I put 400-mile weeks together. And I'm like, something is happening right now. I'm like the adaption's coming back. So I'm like, let's just see what happens. And I was signed up for Wasatch in September, but like
Mhm.
I just couldn't really, I was getting lonely out there. I didn't really have the money to stay out like at all. And then I saw Bigfoot and I'm like, I saw Goggins was signed up for it.
Yeah.
And Bigfoot was originally the first race I got into, but I couldn't do that, so I transferred to Tahoe. So it was just like, I think this is what my life is meant to do right
This is
now.
the one, yeah.
So I call up Bethany. I'm like, hey, I think a little change of plan. So she's like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but like, I'll do this by myself on this one. Like, I don't care. And she had a
Mhm.
conference that weekend. And then things just started falling into place. Like, Dan Green, who won Cocodona, I was watching his training, and when I see people do things that big, it just inspires me. I'm like, "Hey, let
Mhm.
me mimic that. Let me try doing that." So I did a couple 140-mile weeks, and then my confidence was there. My one buddy started messaging me, like, a bunch of, like, really motivational stuff, like, right when I needed to hear it, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna come out and crew you." And that's like and then I started feeling what started feeling other people's energy, and I really, really needed that at that time, you know? So long story short, I lived out there for 2 months. It was terrible at, like, the living aspect. The running
Mhm.
and the riding around was beautiful, but it was tough for me. I'm 37, you know? I was living with a bunch of,
Yeah.
like, younger kids in there, and so it was just a very confusing time, and then I got to so then I rented a car, like, a week before I left Flagstaff, drove out to Utah, met a buddy out there, got to explore some area out there,
Mhm.
and then my buddy from home flew out too. He was helping his girlfriend, pace something. And then he came out, so I got to see all my friends again. And it was just like all that hard stuff. It was just like, God's like, here you go, man. Go enjoy it now. And it's
Brought
just
you to
started.
that.
Yeah. And then drove out to Washington, had the best cabin ever. Like the lady was so, dude, she'd come out, the Airbnb host, for like 2 hours a night and just, we'd sit on the cabin and just talk about just wild stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then, so yeah, then I went to bib pickup the day before the race. Saw Goggins. I went over to him like, hey, just to let you know, man, like I was reading your book when I was in like had a brain injury, the worst part of my life, and like you gave me permission to do these things, and I can't thank you for that enough. And that kind of just, and then that the rest of the story, how it kind of unfolded.
So full circle, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Man, what a wild year though in terms of like the lows, because I know how hard it can get when you seem to be like regressing or injuries, and you get a couple DNFs, and you're just like, I mean, that puts you in such a depressed place, or it can anyway.
yeah.
And it's
Mhm.
like you said, you were questioning, what am I even doing? Should I keep going? Like, does this make sense? But it also like it really lights something underneath you because you don't want it to end that way. You're like, I know what I can do,
Yeah,
and I'm so glad that the year, like, it was so much struggle for a couple of those big ones early on, but it finished in such a glorious way for you,
for sure.
at Bigfoot. That's just amazing. What a
Oh, I
story.
appreciate it. Yeah, and that was one of those ones, kind of like you had said. Sometimes you struggle to such a point to where you just can't feel that anymore. And then like your soul is willing to push to this place you didn't even know existed,
Mhm.
because that was like the 100-miler I set the course record at finally. Like I was having such bad GI issues again in the beginning of that one, but it happened so many times that year. I'm like, well, I just got to suck this one up and get through it. And that's what
Mhm.
life teaches you a lot of times. It's like in the moment, you most likely aren't going to want to do it. But if you do, you're always going to be better afterwards for it. So
Yeah,
even just having that understanding makes it easier to accept the things you don't want to do.
and go do them. Yeah,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah,
when you know that that's gonna be the case.
yeah,
Something you said there about, it really gave you a little extra motivation or some energy when friends were sending you inspiring messages and stuff saying you can do this. That's probably a really good reason to do the Instagram account like you do and keep it going because I mean more and more people are following you and I'm like so invested in like your success. I want to see you do well. Like I love seeing this story unfold. And so I guess comments on those posts and stuff are if you can document your training and document your goals and your race experiences and get that feedback from the community, that's got to help a lot, I imagine.
yeah. And I appreciate you saying that too, because sometimes like I love when I get like training really hard. It's really hard to do the Instagram thing too, because like
Hmm.
you're in your head, you're like, what are people thinking? So that's honestly been a really tough thing for me. But I also do. I've had people reach out to me enough now to where like even if I'm helping one person, that's all I care about, you know?
Hmm.
So it's like the people that have reached out to me now are really helping this become easier to me. Like
Hmm.
hearing you say stuff like that too, because when I do like I am planning on going out west for a while and really trying this. So like I see so many people now going like the YouTube route and like making videos and stuff. And like
Yep.
I didn't really like have the confidence to do that before, but like what I'm doing is hard. And, you know, like
Uh-huh.
I'm putting everything of myself into this. So like I have a story too. And like people are allowing me to kind of have more confidence with that now. And like I really thank people for helping me with that because that's
Well,
been so
believe
huge.
me, like we want you to tell your story because it is really fun. And I was actually I was going to ask you, like, I was hoping that maybe a YouTube thing would be in the future for you, even if it's just like a small like um movie about one of your races or something, even if it's not something where you upload every week or whatever. But I'd love to see some more some like long form content. There's some documentaries out there about all these races. Like people take their cameras with them and shoot some
Yeah.
really beautiful movies that are fun to watch. I'd love to see you in one of those.
Oh, 100%. And Max Jolie, I'm not sure if you know who he
Yeah.
is.
Oh yeah. I love his. Yep.
He's doing such cool stuff right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm really looking up to him, kind of getting some ideas and stuff with that because he's
Hmm.
another person who he popped up out of nowhere. And
Right.
since he was doing things in such a unique way and like just I don't know, showing a different side of the sport. Like a lot of people picked up on that, and like that's what I'm learning with the sport. You don't have to be the most talented anymore. It's like
Hmm.
as long as you got a story, you're willing to go grind and stuff. There is different ways to kind of get yourself out there, and
Yeah.
that's what I do love about social media at this point.
Well, one of the things I wanted to tell you, I was thinking about this beforehand, was I'll make you uncomfortable for a couple minutes here because I know that you don't.
Okay,
I know you don't like this too much, but you've done this on your own for a really long time, trying to like just get by, quitting work for a year and stuff and scraping by with friends. But I think you recently started a GoFundMe page, and I know how uncomfortable you are with the idea of asking for money and how resistant you were to starting a GoFundMe. But I wanted to just tell you that, like, I think that's a really good idea because that's a way for people to give back for all the content that we really enjoy. Like, I follow, you know, I pay 12, $15 to go see a 2 hour movie at the movie theaters,
right,
and
right,
you know, it's worth it because I'm entertained for those 2 hours. But honestly, like some of the Instagram feeds like yours that I follow, or some of the YouTube channels where people are documenting their racing and their training and stuff, I get way more entertainment and enjoyment out of that stuff than I do out of like a 2 hour movie at the theaters. I'd rather give, $15 or $20 to someone's Patreon on YouTube or whatever if they're like if that allows them to keep making that content that I like really enjoy following and that it
for sure.
inspires me so much. So I think it's a really good idea. Like I want you to keep going and keep producing this content that I just love following and get so inspired by. If starting a GoFundMe is like the way that people like me and everyone following you can like chip in a little to keep so that you can keep doing that for us, like that's don't feel bad about starting a GoFundMe. Like we want to see you succeed and we want to see you keep going because we enjoy following it.
Thank you so much.
So yeah.
That's really a cool point too that you're making about that because I was just talking to Bethany about that. I'm like, what's really cool I'm opening my eyes to these days is like sometimes like with social media, like and I put it on myself, like I'm always putting myself out there and like does this look selfish? But at the same time, it's like we've always looked up to these movie stars, like when
Hmm.
me and you were growing up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then you like idolize these people who do not have your best interest at heart
No.
whatsoever. It's like more of a manufactured thing.
Yep.
So it hit me the other day. I'm like, this is really cool that a lot of humans are putting out content and people really do enjoy watching because like, it differs everywhere, but for the most part, that's real life, you know? So it's
Hmm.
kind of cool to see. It's like, and that's why, like, I want more like local runners and people to like really back each other because it's like that's the backbone of everything. That's the
Yeah.
people that's going to help you out, not, the people you're never going to meet in your life, you know? So that's really cool
And
you said that.
it's so hard to make it in the sport that you're in because these races you got to travel so far between them. You have to spend so much time training. The gear isn't cheap. I mean, running shoes these days are all $200+ a pair, and
Yeah.
then there's like the hydration vests and all the equipment you got to carry out there and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And that
it's
was,
hard for someone who's not like one of the top tiered sponsored athletes who's getting a
yes.
paycheck for this to keep going. Like you got
Oh,
to find
100%.
ways.
And that's where a lot of my frustration lies in this sport because it can be so much more competitive. Um,
Yeah.
but you need the time to train, and, like, especially at the 200-mile distance, it does become more of a team sport, like, if you really wanna win those things.
Hmm.
And, like, I just couldn't work anymore for, like, running 140-mile weeks. It's like, you're just gonna become a shell of yourself, and then you're good for nobody around you either, you
Yep.
know? So it's like, how do you navigate all those things? And that's really the biggest message I wanna kinda spread is like, "Hey, a lot of us can do these things, we just need to figure out how, and it's gonna
Right.
expand the sport a lot." And I can't get too mad with that because I forget how new trail running really is and these
Right.
distances,
Yeah.
you know? So I have to allow times to kinda catch up with, like, kinda where my head's at with those things too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I'd like to find I hope that people can start figuring out better ways to do it, and I do think that, like, the social media stuff, and people following you and chipping in is, probably the best way to do that right now.
For sure.
I've noticed you, speaking of sponsorships, you hashtag N Normal a lot, and I see you running
Mhm.
in their gear. Did you have a relationship with them, or are you just a big fan?
Yep, so, I was a huge fan with them, and then last year, I wanna say after a race I did in New Hampshire, somebody reached out to me, awesome guy named Mike, who was their manager, and then so I became an ambassador for them. So
Oh,
essentially, they've been helping me out with, like, gear and shoes a lot, so that's been
wonderful.
a really huge thing for me, and that's something I'm hoping I can kind of prove myself to them and
Yeah,
kind of keep getting some results and kind of because in my opinion, a lot of these companies, like just the big ultras in the 200-mile distance, isn't really on the radar. In my
right.
opinion, that can be such a huge like marketing thing right now because like Cocodona is getting so huge here.
Mhm.
Like all the triple crown races everybody's been watching, and that's what I noticed. Like when I put up those trackers, like, I have people reaching out from my high school that I haven't talked to in 20
Yeah.
years, like, so excited, like, "We were watching the whole thing." I went into a this is so crazy. I went into a store the other day, I think it was Wegmans, and a kid working I had my Bigfoot 200 shirt on, he's like, "Dude, I was watching that whole thing." He's like, "Do you know who David Goggins is?" And then I told him the story. He's like, "Oh my god." So it's like, I'm really noticing these big distances are really catching on, and I
Yeah.
think that can be a huge marketing kind of place for a lot of these companies right now.
Oh,
So
I
I'm
definitely
just
think so,
hoping I can
yeah.
prove myself in kind of these bigger distance races within the next couple of years.
Uh, well, then, okay, over the next couple of years, let's talk a little bit about future plans. Because I mean, you're certainly motivated. I know you've got probably a vision for yourself and a long-term plan or long-term idea of what you'd like to get to, in this sport. What are some of the big goals, like, going into are you gonna do any more races in yeah, you had that, what, saddle something coming up? What was it called?
So yeah, so kind of that gets directly kind of in with what I got going on.
Okay.
So long story short, just with everything that I had from my brain injury, I became very allergic to a lot of foods and a lot of like environmental factors.
Hmm,
So it's taken me this once I went out to that dry climate, my life did a 180. I felt so good. My allergies were like non-existent. And like I've come to find out I'm allergic to mold and a lot of these things like super bad in this, humid environment around here. So with that said, I kind of moving forward, I'm really trying to find a way to be out west for good.
mhm,
So in about 2 weeks now, I'm actually, packing up my car, gonna drive out of there. There's so many cool primitive spots out there to, like, tent and do different things. So essentially,
nice.
I'm just gonna kinda live out of my car for a little bit, go out to that race. Then I'm gonna head to Moab 240, volunteer there, do some, social media stuff with them or just, volunteering at a aid station, not exactly sure where I'll be with that.
Get a
But
little,
then just kinda
little recon and beta on that race for a future
100%,
yep,
yeah. So right now I'm just essentially I kind of see out west is where a lot of these things are if I kind of want to do that area, especially
mhm,
working with like normal and stuff. That's where like a lot of killing comes to a lot of the big events. So
yeah.
I do kind of see that's if I want to keep progressing this kind of heading that way. So the next year is just kind of looking to get out west, kind of get my feet comfortable, kind of see what happens, and then hopefully we do get out there for good. That's kind of the big plan.
Do you
And then
see
that's gonna
sorry, is there a big, like an A race or anything next year, or like some big ones you have in mind?
So I am on my A race right now would be Cocodona
Mhm.
coming up in May. It's sold out. There's like 804 people on the wait list right now.
Oh my
It's
god.
wild.
Are you on the wait list or are you
Yeah.
signed up?
So I'm 280 on the wait list this year. I know last year it went to like 350,
Okay,
but you never know how it's going to move, you know?
right.
So especially with hopefully I'm still out there by the time May comes around for that. And I'll also be planning on because I'm gonna find like work out there and stuff and just kind of try to make it work for a while. And then I'll be able to kind of go do some Cocodona routes because I've done 77 miles of the course already. So I'll be
Mhm.
able to go train out there a little bit, get to know. But
On the
that'll
course itself, maybe?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that'll be my A race. Courtney DeWalter is going to be there again. All the top names are going to be there. So that's that's one I would eventually like to have a really good race at. But I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to go there and really learn how to do it first for to really go
Yeah,
eventually
yeah.
have my good race.
Well, have you ever put any time into a course before you got on it? Like Bigfoot was totally new to you, I think, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I'd never even been to Washington. It was just all new to me.
Yeah.
But last year training for break, like I'll get very upset. If it's like a marathon or under, I'll typically go just really learn the course.
Mhm.
Cause last year I did breakneck and I was up there for 3 months for like a week at a time, just run. Like I knew every part of that course.
Cool.
And then I was able, like, by the time the race came around, I had or no, it was a pretty good day, but I had some calorie issues, but it was like a training run and I
Mhm.
still smashed my time. So
Yeah.
in the faster races, I really do like to know the course to really understand where to push it. In the
Mhm.
really long ones, I don't even want to know what's coming.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, training wise, like you said you were doing 100-mile weeks. Like, what does your typical training week look like? You know, because I come from more of a road running background, so I'm doing more of like the typical. I'll do like a speed session on Monday. I'll do lactate threshold session on Thursday. I do a long run on the weekend. Bunch of easy runs in between, but I'm guessing your training is far more unstructured and it's more just spending as much time on your feet, getting the mileage in as possible, hopefully on elevation and whatnot. What's your
Yeah.
training week look like for you?
So this year was kind of honestly, I'm pretty much just dialing in the best way to train for myself.
Yeah.
'Cause I did work with a coach for a little bit, but it just didn't work for kinda me. Like, I'm the kind of person I'd rather make those mistakes myself to really understand them and then be able to go into the best way I can, you know? Because 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
always gonna hit them pretty hard. But the biggest thing for me, like, especially but I so let's say 100-mile if I was training for it, it's gonna be different than a 200 miler.
Mm.
Like, on this one, alls I cared about was, like, big volume. Like, I essentially did really no tempo work for this one. It was just staying on my feet. And
Yeah.
also, I was kind of in a weird space with my shin. I didn't wanna put too big of an impact on it and open up those, fractures anymore. So I
Yeah.
was just, like even for the first, like, 3 weeks, I was almost just, like, hiking for, like, 6 hours at a time.
Hmm.
And then once I could start running, I would just do really, like, easy zone 2 training, and
Hmm.
by, like, my biggest week, I would just run 20 miles every day. So 7 days a week, I was just running, 20 miles, just real nice and easy, come back,
Okay.
eat food, and just kinda hang out. But if I was training for a 100 miler, like, right now, I'm just doing, like, a 2 weeks just to get my volume back up, but I'm
Hmm.
throwing in much more tempos just in with it because
Yep.
I'm, like with the 100 mile, you're trying to run the whole time, and you're
Oh yeah.
using a lot of strength in those, you know?
Yep. Yep.
But that's gonna be interesting for me. I think I'm gonna go in a little bit more confident, then I'm gonna kinda realize the peppiness of my legs next month.
Hmm.
So I think that for me, the best way would just be doing a little bit of speed work, like 1 or 2, but just more just kinda just getting my legs ready and adapted, just
Oh.
kinda like, "Hey, wake up a little bit."
Right. Yes, it's so interesting to me because I'm thinking a lot about how to train for ultras. It's a different challenge, and some of the things I've learned. I need to do more hiking for one thing.
Yeah.
Like even just the 50 miler that I did, it's got 10,000 feet roughly of elevation, and muscles were sore that never get sore when I run. Yeah, I could put in
Mhm.
high mileage weeks running on a flat, and I'll get fatigued maybe a little bit, but the ascents and descents beat you up in ways that I wasn't quite prepared for. And I think hiking is actually probably one of the best things that I can add in as much of that
Absolutely.
as possible. But it's also interesting. Like there's talk in the ultra world about training and what you should focus on. And like you've got like David Roche, for example, kind of popularizing now speed training. He's all concerned about like his 1 mile time trial and like doing these like fast 800-meter repeats and stuff like that. And then you got the other end of the spectrum where people are just doing tons of miles at Z2 and hiking. And it seems like people are trying to figure out where the juice is as far as what's going to get you the best results. It's a
Yeah.
really kind of a wild west as far as how to train for these things.
100%, and I think that has a lot to do with personalities, and in my opinion, with David Roche, he has
Mhm.
to have so much strength for how fast he's trying to run these things. So in my
Mhm.
opinion, I think for a 100-miler, because he's not going to be out there for his, like, I mean, he could probably run a flat 100-miler in, like, I don't know, 12 and a half, 13 hours or
Yeah,
something like that, something
right.
crazy. So it's like a lot of that is, in my opinion, more strength and like kind of speed work with that
Yep.
stuff. You know what I mean? Because
It's a
that's
it's a
why,
different event for him than it would be for me. Yeah.
for sure. And that's why, like, kind of you're asking like about my loads. Like when I'm doing that 200-mile, never once am I even getting close to threshold. So it's
Mhm.
more of a mental recovery than physical. Like I wasn't even really sore after that race just because I wasn't pushing, you know? And like
Right.
to that point, somebody asked me the biggest thing I would tell somebody going into a 200-miler, and it's to start hiking because you
Mm.
were absolutely right. It hits your hips differently. It
Yep.
hits your glutes differently. And all of a sudden you're sore in all these weird spots. And you're
We
like,
did
oh,
this
I'm just not.
15-mile hike this past weekend, and my TFL muscles, on the top of my hips were so sore. And the only time I'd ever experienced that before was after my ultra marathon. And
Yep.
I'm like, okay, I'm feeling the same way after going for a hike up in the Adirondacks as I did after the ultra. Clearly, this is something I should be doing more of because it's hitting the same thing here.
Oh, yeah. And, like, a great, thing for me is, like, even when I'm not training or I've broken multiple ankles, but what
Mhm.
I'll always do is just get on my treadmill, put it to 15% and just hike for, like, 3 hours.
Yep.
It's literally I probably never go 3 hours, maybe, like, 2
Right.
hours.
Long
But,
time.
it's such a good workout, and it just gets you in the motion of doing those things, you know?
Yep. Yeah. That makes total sense. Okay.
Yeah.
How about strength training? I think you mentioned you do a little bit of gym training, right? Is it once a
So
week or
when
twice a week?
So when I started running in 2019, I was bodybuilding and I weighed like 225 of like pretty good muscle. Like I was a big guy. So I quit, like I really didn't lift for quite a while, but this is the first year since I've been running so much where
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, I got to start lifting again. Because I would be doing those long descents and my hips and my hamstrings just couldn't handle it like they used to. Like I'd get
Okay.
halfway down, I'm like, I used to not even feel this, but it's just hitting your bones so much differently and stuff.
Yep.
You
So
don't have
that's
that.
the exact same feeling that I had after my
Yeah.
races. So what have you added in as far as strength training? What are kind of some of your go-to exercises, like 3 or 4 that you think benefit you the most?
So I like doing deadlifts. I
Mhm.
like doing wall sits. I like doing single leg RDLs. Essentially, I like doing some underhand rows as well.
Mhm.
And then pretty much, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, a lot of posterior chain stuff, huh? You said like the
Yeah,
hamstrings.
I'll do some elevated heel squats and then some normal squats with like a kettlebell. And essentially, I don't get too much crazier than that. And then
Yep.
I'll just do some mobility stuff. And the biggest thing for me is just doing like even 9 simple stretches right after you run. Even if you do it for 8 minutes, it's such a night and difference day. Like
Yeah.
like some people, I think it turned me off too because it's just a whole nother thing. Then like I was always like, I got to do this for like another hour. But then I started doing it for like 5 minutes a day. I'm like, this is a world of a difference. It
Yeah,
really
once you
is.
feel the benefit, then you wanna do it more, right?
100%. And that's what I learned. If you're not staying loose, your stride can't go as far. You can't
Yeah.
run as it's like nothing's going to work out how you want it if you're not staying loose. It's just there's no way around it. And then injuries too, like ankle injuries, it's
Mhm.
coming from you being so tight. Like if your
Mhm.
ankles are loose, you can get away with quite a big roll in your ankle. But if
Right.
those tendons and stuff are tight, they're just going to pop like and that's what happened to me every time is I was tight whenever I had an ankle injury.
That weakness you're noticing isn't just about age. It's about giving your body the right protein to maintain your strength and independence. While most protein supplements lead to bloating and digestive issues after 50, grass-fed beef protein is different. Unlike whey and plant-based protein that can cause uncomfortable digestive problems, grass-fed beef protein is a dairy-free source of complete protein, which means it gives you all the building blocks your body needs in a form that it can actually use. Getting more native path complete protein in your diet helps maintain muscle strength without the stomach issues that make other proteins unbearable. So if you're looking for a delicious way to add more high quality protein to your diet, look no further than Native Path Complete Protein. At only 110 calories per serving, each scoop packs 20 grams of grass-fed beef protein and contains zero sugar, dairy, soy, and gluten. It's available in chocolate and vanilla and tastes unbelievable in anything you add it to: water, coffee, smoothies, you name it. And the best part, Native Path offers amazing bundle deals. You can get 3 or 6 bags at a fraction of the price of other brands. Plus, They offer a 360-day no-risk money-back guarantee and an 800 number for any questions about usage, recipes, or ingredients. And you'll speak to a real person that's ready to help. Visit nativepathcompleteprotein.com/co-movement and start your transformation today. Again, that is nativepathcompleteprotein.com/co-movement.
Yeah. Do you think you have any strategies as far as fixing the GI issues? Because even on the Bigfoot, which was an awesome result, you still had those issues early on. Do you have any ideas as to why you're prone to that and what you might do to hopefully get through a race like Cocodona and have a solid stomach the whole way?
So that does come from just like from my brain injury. My stomach just can't handle foods like it used to, and I've had to like it's so much better than it used to. Like it will adapt, but it does seem like so. In my opinion, it's from taking in a little bit too much sugar too quickly.
Okay.
I need to do a better job at almost like taking a little less calories in the beginning and just more water to kind of flush my system
Let your
out.
body kind of get used to it.
Exactly, and then I can kinda start going into it, and that's what my crew member Steve said. He's like, "Dude, if you can dial in those first 50 miles, just go, like, don't worry about even racing at that point, like, you're gonna be there." And
Mhm.
that's just taken time to understand, and I never trusted myself for the second half. Like, I just never thought I'd be able to, like, be able to do that before, you know? But
Yeah.
once you have the experience, it's like, "Oh, okay," and this is the first time I'm really seeing those huge weeks and those sacrifices, like, pay off. Like, I'm going for runs at home right now, and I feel so, so strong, and
Mhm.
it's so amazing because usually I'd be dying right now, you know? So this is the first time I've seen, like, through the years, the adaption, like, really, really paying off.
That's really nice.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
on
for
your
sure.
training runs, I assume you're taking in a lot of calories if you're out on like a 20 miler or something. Are you trying to train your GI system to take in more and more? Or yeah, how's that going for you? Like
So
how many
that's
calories you taking in or how many grams of carbs per hour,
so that's what I really I'll be honest, since my stomach's been so bad, when I used to train, I wasn't even, like, eating anything. Like, that's n why I could never get my miles in, and that's why, like, I'd get to a race, and that's why I was having a lot of those stomach issues.
Mhm.
But for me, I started using liquid calories this go around, and I would be using like so that was also a process because then I started training exactly how I was going to run or
Mhm.
race. But in Arizona, I was taking in like 2,000 milligrams of sodium an hour because I was getting so depleted. Like it was crazy. I
Wow.
was do- some runs I was going through like 6,000 milligrams of sodium, and like
Oh my God.
it was insane. So long story short, like for a 4 hour run, I would typically I mean, I'd have to dial it in because I would be taking too much sugar, get sick. So then I'd be like, okay, now I'm gonna do 1 flask of just water, 1 flask of my element, and the, calories that I have in it, and that was a night and day difference. So I'd kinda go back and forth with that in the beginning. So it
Okay.
essentially seems if you can flush enough water out when you're getting that sugar in the beginning, you're gonna be okay. But for me,
Okay.
if I get a little bit too much sugar, I start getting hot, I just start everything just comes unglued.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing for me was adapting with the training, learning to take in more water when you do hit those points. And then you just know, like, hey, this probably is going to happen during the race, but I know how to handle it when it comes. Like, I have all those coping mechanisms. Like, my central nervous system will be able to handle it better this time. So it is what it is.
I think you're gonna have a lot of confidence going into this next season with everything you've learned here. And then you just
Yeah.
got to make sure you have a good cheeseburger chef on your crew, and
Yes, exactly.
it's going to be a good race.
I'll tell you, if I ever make enough money, I'm just hiring my own personal cheeseburger chef to come to every race. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, sometime we got to get you to come to our Brookfield Classic.
I know.
I'm pretty excited that our that's the race that Bob and Josh and I started a couple years ago. So we're going to do our third running, and that's next weekend. So I think, geez, we're like 10 days out now, 11 days out. It's gonna
Okay.
be 70 degrees and sunny. It looks beautiful. So I'd
Oh
love to
man.
see you come cruise that 50 kilometers. It'd be just like a nice little training jog for you,
Well, I was just gonna say
training
too.
sprint.
I was about to say I have to get in a long run next weekend, so there's always a possibility.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, it's a cool course. It's basically a 15K loop that you do 3 times, and then you do a little 5K at the end of it to finish off the 50 kilometers.
Oh heck yeah! I
Yeah,
honestly
yeah, it's really cool.
I kind of like 50K loop courses because after the first loop, you know kind of everything, and then you can really dial in your pace if you're going for like a PR or
If you're
something.
going for speed, then yeah, that's
Yeah,
ideal, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for
And
sure.
actually, boy, hey, if you need an incentive, we're offering a cash prize to anyone who breaks the course record this year. And the course record, I think, is 5.5 hours on the
Okay.
50K. So
All
yeah,
right.
put that in your mind and think about it a little bit.
My girlfriend's probably back there like, oh, God.
I know. Let's see, dude. I think we covered everything here. This is awesome. I loved hearing about your race. I'm really stoked to keep following you and see what you do next year. And at your race, geez, when is Saddle? It's
So October 4th it's going to be. So I'll head out. I think I'm planning on heading out here September 15th. Kind of just taking my time driving out there, and then
Yep.
going to go hit that up and kind of soak in a little of the nice sun out there for a little bit more.
Yeah. So you're 1 month out from that. Okay.
Yep.
Is that going to be, that's a 100 and
Yep.
you're going for, have you looked at like the course record, or are you going for a podium? Like you're looking to run this one pretty quick?
So yeah, so the course, I think the course record right now is like 21:04.
Okay.
It's got about just shy of 12,000 feet to climb. Now, let's say I was in the Northeast, I'd be looking to go around like ideally like an A race around 18 to 18:30. But I
Okay.
have and again, I've never ran that fast, so I'm not saying that's going to happen. But
Right.
that's
But
like
that'd be
what I
your
would.
goal.
That's
Yeah.
what I would like to search for, and then when that doesn't happen, figure out how to do it after that one, you
Mhm.
know? But it's so exposed out there, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna be really with the altitude when I go back. So
Right.
there's 2 variables I'm not sure about, but if I can keep it together and run a good race, anything under 20 hours, I'm gonna be pretty stoked with. So I'm shooting for the course record when I go out there,
That'd
yeah.
be really awesome. Well, yeah, I can't wait to follow you there.
Oh, for sure.
We're gonna link your social. What is it on Instagram? The Big Rig. You wanna
Yep, the
tell me what?
underscore big rig, an old self-proclaimed, nickname back in the day.
I was wondering about that.
So funny enough, like I don't know, I called myself like the big rig at a party, like more for like a big tractor trailer or something. And
Yeah.
my buddy always thought it was hilarious, and then he made me that Instagram account, and then I took it over like 2 years
It
later.
reminds me of like the comedian Bert Kreischer who does the Machine. I don't
The
know.
Machine, yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, you're the
That's my
Machine.
alter
You're the
ego.
Big Rig.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's funny. All right, dude. It was awesome chatting with you today. I hope our listeners got a lot out of this and enjoyed it. I'm sure they did. They love race recaps. We all do. They definitely need to check you out. Underscore the Big Rig on Instagram. I mentioned, and I'll mention it for you, the GoFundMe. Can you find that on Instagram?
Yeah, so it's actually, if you go right up into my profile, it's the first link. You can just click right on it out of my profile.
No. Well, I'm going to encourage our listeners to check that out and maybe throw a little your way so we can keep your story going and keep following you, because I love it and I want to see you do some pretty big things in the sport. You've been really good for the sport and your message is amazing. So I want you to keep that going and I want to keep following it.
I
So
appreciate
thank you,
that.
Pat. I really appreciate everything you do, and I hope I get to meet you in person soon. One of these races, somewhere we'll cross paths.
Absolutely.
But thanks for being on, dude. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
hey, thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and I enjoyed talking to you, and we'll meet soon.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we will see you in the next episode. Take care.